Hey, Wine and Gold Nation, also known as Cleveland Cavaliers fans. I know I've been focused a lot on the Blue Jackets, but this is Wine and Gold Unger after all, so let's get back to the Cavs game previews. Come on. So, it was a very good victory against the New Orleans Pelicans on Monday, January 2nd. But now it's time for another Central Division matchup as the Cavaliers look to get a little bit of revenge against the Chicago Bulls, who beat them earlier this season in Chicago. What was the score of that game? Cleveland Cavaliers at Chicago Bulls. The Bulls won the first game on December 2nd, 111-105. That was after the Cavs that was the second night of a back-to-back. The first night, the Cavaliers got dismantled at home by the Los Angeles Clippers. Also in that game, that was when LeBron had to wear all of his Chicago Cubs stuff since the Indians did not win the World Series. And so LeBron lost the bet to Dwayne Wade, who now plays for the Bulls. That's still so weird to say that Dwayne Wade plays for the Chicago Bulls and that he does not play for the Miami Heat. However, I'm not sure if Wade or Rondo are going to play for the Bulls tomorrow night. So the main guy the Cavaliers have to watch out for against this Bulls team is Jimmy Butler. I think he had like 52 points against the Charlotte Hornets on Monday. Yep, Jimmy Butler had 52 points and about 12 rebounds for the Bulls. So he's the main guy you have to watch. You have to try and somehow contain when you play the Bulls. Easier said than done. But we have LeBron. However, that wasn't enough in Chicago. As I said, the Bulls won that game 111-102. The Bulls still have that tough physical style that they usually do. However, I think they're a little bit more offensive-minded versus defensive-minded now. Because they fired Tom Thibodeau, who now coaches the Minnesota Timberwolves, and hired Fred Hoiberg, who is the Iowa State Cyclones head coach for a while. Let's see. Yeah, Jimmy Butler, 52 points, 6 assists, and about 12 rebounds. So, very impressive. So, the Cavs are coming off a nice win, although Kyrie Irving didn't play. I'm still in shock about that Warriors game. But what makes me the most upset about it is that the NBA came out 2 days later, and said that, number one, Richard Jefferson should not, and rescinded the technical foul on Richard Jefferson, that taunting call. Then they also said that LeBron should have been called for a technical foul for hanging on the rim, and that Kevin Durant got fouled on the last play when he stumbled and fell. Granted, I'm glad that the Cavaliers won. Don't get me wrong. That was a huge win against the Golden State Warriors. Duh, it's the Golden State Warriors. But you don't do that why would you make that public? It just doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't. But getting back to this matchup, the Cavaliers have not done great against the Central Division for some reason. They lost their first matchup to the Pacers in Indiana. split the season series so far with Detroit, lost the first game to the Chicago Bulls, and then have a 2-1 series lead against the Milwaukee Bucks. So it is crucial that they beat Chicago tomorrow night, because the Cavaliers should be like dominating this division. Although Indiana and Milwaukee, the rest of the teams in the division aren't that bad of teams. So I still can't believe I'm saying this, but Dwayne Wade is a Chicago Bull. And the problem I see with the Bulls is they don't have a lot of youth. The main rookie they have is Denzel Valentine. Don't get me wrong, he's really good. He's a good point guard from Michigan State. But in my opinion, my personal opinion, the Bulls have too many veterans. So that's why they could be a good playoff team, but they're not a championship threat like San Antonio or maybe the Clippers, maybe the Thunder. But in the Eastern Conference, it's Cleveland, Toronto, Boston, maybe Washington, maybe Atlanta, maybe New York. I don't see where Chicago maybe gets in, as a 7 seed. But I don't know. The other main guy Chicago relies on somewhat is Robin Lopez. Lopez in the last game had 5 points in the Bulls' win against the Hornets. So, not impressive. Nikola Mirotic came off the bench and started for the Bulls. Didn't start for the Bulls. He off the bench, Nikola Mirotic had 12 points in 27 minutes. So, if I was more concerned about a player, Robin Lopez or Nikola Mirotic, I'd worry more about Nikola Mirotic. Mirotic is a really interesting player. I wouldn't say he's a terrific defender. I would say he's a pretty good defender. Not the best defender on the Bulls. I think that's Jimmy Butler. But he's a decent defender. But what I think really makes Mirotic, and also you can include Doug McDermott in this, is that they can both shoot. Granted, I think Doug McDermott's jump 3-point shot is a little bit more developed and a little bit more reliable. But Mirotic is still a good shooter. As for the Cavs, because this is a Cavaliers preview after all, so we have to focus on the Cavs. The one thing I know this game has been done for a while, but when all 3 guys rested in Memphis, I didn't like the way we played. And I think that shows that what concerns me about that is, like, are the Cavs too dependent on the big 3 of Kyrie, Kevin Love, and LeBron? Are they too dependent on that? I would say maybe. Could it be that LeBron was resting? And that could be, because the Cavs usually get beat when they rest LeBron. But I respect Ty Lue's decision to do that. But there was no way he was going to do that against Golden State. I mean, on Christmas Day, no way. But I don't know, it just, something doesn't sit well with me about how they played when all 3 rested. But, it's not my decision to say, oh yeah, these guys, they need when LeBron and Kyrie and Kevin Love rest, or when they don't, or when one rests and when the other two don't, or anything like that. It's not my decision. It's Ty Lue's decision, and I respect it. The one guy that has surprised me, and I think, is DeAndre Liggins. Against Steph Curry, he really shut down Steph Curry, for the most part. But again, he has no jump shot. None. Like, you give him a wide open shot or an opportunity to pass, he might take the opportunity to shoot, but it'll probably bounce off the rim. I would rather give it to Kyrie, which is what he did on a particular play against Golden State. I know I keep referencing that Golden State game, because that game was just spectacular. I don't think the Cavaliers are going to be very reliant on Liggins over these next 3 months, as J.R. Smith is out due to thumb surgery. Let's see. Liggins in 18 minutes only had 2 points. 2 points. That's not very good. Kay Felder in 22 minutes, 12 points. And he wasn't even a starter. So, I wish they played Kay Felder a little bit more, but I don't think he's... I think part of the reason that the Cavaliers are not playing him yet is because he's not quite there yet to be a backup point guard. Now, that's not to say he's a bad player, because I think he's fantastic. But I just don't see him being a backup point guard yet. But maybe later in the season, as he gets more playing time, he can become more reliable. But not yet. Not yet. Another key guy who the Cavaliers brought in last season, in that 3-team trade with, who was it? Oh, yeah. Orlando and Portland, in which Anderson Varejao got traded to Portland, and then Portland released him, and then now he's a Golden State Warrior. But Orlando traded Channing Frye to the Cavaliers. Channing Frye has surprised me. In the most recent Cavaliers game that I went to against the Toronto Raptors, he played really well. He played even more minutes in the fourth quarter than Tristan Thompson did. Now, that's a little bit surprising, considering how Thompson did in the finals last season. But, again, none of this is my decision. It's all Ty Lue. So, this should be a fantastic game tomorrow night. I think the Cavaliers can get this done, but the Bulls are not just going to go, okay, we quit, we're going to let you win. No. Nuh-uh. Chicago is never like that. Not with Jimmy Butler, and especially if Dwayne Wade plays. The Cavaliers are going to have to earn the victory. Go Cavs, and I will see you next time. Go Cavs.